Welcome to Starlight Sci-Fi, where the wonders of the cosmos meet the resilience of the human spirit. Buckle up for another interstellar journey into the unknown. In the shadow of forgotten stars lies a galactic graveyard, known as the MothYard, a place feared and revered across the cosmos. It is said that no species ventures there willingly, except the humans. But why? What secrets does this ghostly expanse hold? And how did humanity turn it into a legend? Prepare to uncover a tale of courage, sacrifice, and an enduring mystery that redefined the galaxy. In a remote corner of the Milky Way, far from the bustling trade routes and luminous colonies of advanced civilizations, lies a desolate stretch of space known only as the MothYard. Its name comes from the strange patterns formed by the shattered remnants of starships drifting in its dark expanse. These ships, torn and eroded by time, appear eerily like moth wings in the starlight, beautiful yet broken. The MothYard spans light years, a silent testament to countless failed voyages. No one knows who left the first wreck, but over the millennia, it grew into a spectral dumping ground, where the ruins of dead civilizations accumulated. To most intelligent species in the galaxy, the MothYard is a place to be avoided at all costs. Legends abound of explorers who entered its bounds, drawn by curiosity or desperation, and were never heard from again. Some say the yard is cursed, haunted by the ghosts of the long dead. Others claim it is a trap laid by an ancient, malevolent intelligence. Whatever the truth, the few who dared to venture close were met with malfunctioning instruments, unexplained phenomena, and the haunting sense that they were being watched. These warnings became deeply ingrained in the collective psyches of other species. Maps labeled it with red voids, and whispers in interstellar taverns called it a graveyard of fools. But humanity saw it differently. Where others saw danger, humans saw opportunity. The MothYard, to them, was a treasure trove waiting to be unlocked. Humanity had spent centuries pushing the boundaries of their existence, first across their home planet, then to the stars. Survival had been their cornerstone, adaptation their weapon. They had learned to turn wastelands into fertile ground, ruins into shelters, and failures into triumphs. So when human explorers first stumbled upon the MothYard, they weren't deterred by its ominous reputation. Instead, they saw it as a challenge, a mystery that needed to be solved. Early expeditions were cautious, sending unmanned probes into the yard's depths. What they found defied expectations. The wreckage wasn't random. Each ship was uniquely advanced, crafted by civilizations long gone. The materials, the designs, the technologies, these were the remnants of species that had achieved great things before meeting their unknown ends. To humans, this was like finding the fossils of giants. The MothYard wasn't just a graveyard, it was an archive of innovation, knowledge, and potential. Soon, humanity began sending crews into the yard. At first, they scavenged for materials and artifacts, but as they delved deeper, they realized this was more than a salvage operation. It was a puzzle, one that hinted at something far larger than humanity had ever imagined. What had drawn so many species here? And why had they vanished? The MothYard wasn't just a grave, it was a question, and humanity was determined to find the answer. The deeper humanity delved into the MothYard, the more unsettling their discoveries became. The wrecks were not merely random ships lost to time or disaster. They represented the achievements of entire civilizations. Each vessel bore the hallmarks of a species that had once dominated its corner of the galaxy. Some ships were sleek and organic, suggesting advanced bioengineering. Others were hulking behemoths of metal and plasma, testaments to civilizations that had mastered brute force technology. Each design was as unique as the species that created it. But all of them had one thing in common. They were abandoned, silent reminders of vanished greatness. Human scientists and historians meticulously cataloged the wreckage. By analyzing the composition of metals, deciphering fragments of alien languages, and reconstructing long-dead technologies, they began to piece together a disturbing pattern. The civilizations represented in the MothYard had all reached extraordinary levels of advancement, often surpassing what humanity had achieved. They had mastered interstellar travel, developed technologies to manipulate energy and matter, and even unlocked forms of artificial intelligence that bordered on sentience. But despite their brilliance, every one of these civilizations had disappeared. No survivors, no colonies, no signs of migration to other star systems. It was as though they had simply ceased to exist. The MothYard wasn't just a graveyard for ships, it was the final record of civilizations that had reached their peak and then mysteriously collapsed. What made the pattern even more unsettling was the timeline. The civilizations had not fallen all at once, but one by one, across vast stretches of time. Some wrecks dated back tens of thousands of years, while others were as recent as a few centuries. Yet no matter when they had fallen, their remains had all ended up here, drawn into the MothYard like moths to a flame. It was as if an unseen force had lured them to this place, only to extinguish them once they arrived. Human researchers began to theorize. Perhaps the MothYard was the site of some ancient calamity, a singular event that had left a scar on the galaxy. Or perhaps it was a trap, laid by an unknown intelligence that preyed on civilizations at their height. Some even speculated that the yard itself was alive, a sentient phenomenon that fed on technological ambition. But one thing became clear: humanity was now walking the same path as those before them. By entering the MothYard, they had placed themselves squarely in the trajectory of civilizations that had vanished. Yet unlike the others, humans refused to turn back. They believed that the very pattern of extinction they had uncovered might also hold the key to their survival. Where others had failed, humanity vowed to persevere, driven by a question that burned brighter than fear. Why had they all disappeared, and could humanity escape the same fate? The MothYard, once a terrifying enigma, became a proving ground for human ingenuity. While the galactic community watched from a distance, humans ventured deeper into its depths, salvaging not just material riches, but invaluable knowledge. Each expedition returned with new artifacts, fragments of alien supercomputers, weapon systems that bent the laws of physics, and cryptic data logs written in languages no one had seen before. With every piece they brought back, humanity grew stronger, smarter, and more resourceful. The reverse engineering process was grueling. Human scientists worked tirelessly to understand alien technologies that operated on principles beyond their grasp. They deciphered energy systems that could power entire planets and propulsion mechanisms capable of faster than light travel without conventional fuel. Even more astonishing were the biomechanical interfaces found on some ships, technologies that seemed to blur the line between the living and the artificial. Yet, amid these discoveries, a chilling realization began to take hold. Each piece of technology they uncovered wasn't just a remnant of a long-dead civilization. It was a piece of a larger puzzle. The innovations weren't standalone marvels, they were interconnected, as though part of a grand design. The wrecks hinted at a shared destiny among the species that had come before, a path of advancement that led all of them to the MothYard. For humanity, the implications were unsettling. Was technological progress itself a trap? Did every civilization that advanced to a certain point inevitably meet its doom? And if so, what had they encountered that humanity had yet to face? The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A research team studying the quantum signatures of alien power cores detected a faint, repeating signal. At first, they assumed it was a malfunction static left behind in the wreckage. But as the data was refined, it became clear that the signal wasn't random. It was deliberate, structured, and impossibly old. The signal pulsed at intervals that corresponded to universal constants, as if designed to be understood by any intelligent species. When the signal was finally decoded, it sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It was not a warning, as many had feared, but an invitation, a set of coordinates deep within the MothYard. The origin point appeared to be a colossal derelict ship that had gone unnoticed among the wreckage. The ship, later named the Leviathan, was unlike anything humanity had seen before. Its structure was organic yet mechanical, a seamless blend of biology and technology. The Leviathan was impossibly ancient, predating even the earliest wrecks in the MothYard. And as humanity prepared to investigate it, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of uncovering something far greater than mere technology. The signal was a turning point. It hinted at answers to the MothYard's mysteries, but also posed new, terrifying questions. What lay aboard the Leviathan? And had humanity just crossed the threshold into the same fate that had claimed every species before them? The galaxy watched in silence as humanity prepared to face the unknown. The Leviathan was a ship of impossible proportions, dwarfing even the largest vessels ever constructed by humanity. It was positioned at the heart of the MothYard, as though every wreck around it had been drawn into its gravitational pull. The ship seemed alive, its surface covered in patterns that shifted subtly, like the breathing of a sleeping giant. It was the origin of the signal that had lured humanity deeper into the yard, and it radiated an aura of ancient power that made even the most seasoned explorers uneasy. Humanity approached cautiously. Remote drones were sent to map its surface, but they malfunctioned the closer they got. Instruments failed to maintain consistent readings, and the Leviathan's interior seemed to defy the laws of physics, with corridors that looped endlessly or disappeared entirely. Despite these challenges, humanity pressed forward, eventually breaching its outer hull and sending manned teams inside. What they found was unlike anything they had imagined. The Leviathan wasn't just a ship, it was a repository of knowledge, a vast ark hidden into its walls and structures. The corridors glowed faintly, pulsing with a rhythm that suggested the ship was still functioning on some level. Symbols and patterns adorned the walls, their meanings elusive but strangely familiar, as though they were designed to be understood by any intelligent species. The deeper the teams went, the stranger the discoveries became. They found chambers filled with crystalline structures that resonated with faint whispers, as though the ship itself was trying to communicate. One room contained an array of suspended holograms, depicting star systems, alien species, and events that spanned billions of years. These images hinted at a civilization far older than any recorded in the galaxy, a civilization that had not just explored the stars but had manipulated the very fabric of reality. Yet there were signs of tragedy as well. Scattered throughout the Leviathan were remnants of its creators, skeletal remains, tools abandoned mid-use, and machinery that had been hastily dismantled. It was as if they had been interrupted in the middle of something monumental. Whatever had happened here, it had ended in catastrophe. The most unsettling discovery came from a central chamber, where the walls displayed a pattern eerily similar to the repeating signal that had led humanity to the Leviathan. Scientists theorized that the signal wasn't just a message, it was a test, a kind of gauntlet designed to measure the worthiness of those who found it. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not been the first to receive the signal. The civilizations that had left their wrecks in the MothYard had likely followed the same path, drawn to the Leviathan's call, only to be consumed by whatever test it held. Despite the risks, humanity persisted. The Leviathan held answers to the fate of the MothYard's victims, and perhaps to the nature of the galaxy itself. But as the ship's systems began to react to their presence, humanity had to confront a terrifying question. Was the Leviathan a gift, or was it a trap waiting to spring? The Leviathan was more than a mystery. It was a challenge that demanded to be solved. As humanity dug deeper into its depths, the ship seemed to awaken, responding to their efforts with increasing complexity. Systems that had lain dormant for untold millennia flickered to life, and faint vibrations coursed through the ship's walls. What began as an exploration soon turned into a race against time. At first, the phenomena were subtle. Instruments recorded slight variations in gravity around the Leviathan, barely noticeable but growing stronger with each passing day. Then came the anomalies, localized distortions in time and space, with some teams reporting moments where seconds stretched into minutes or entire hours vanished without explanation. On the outer edges of the MothYard, human ships experienced sudden, unexplainable malfunctions. Power cores overloaded, navigation systems reset, and some vessels vanished entirely, leaving only faint energy signatures behind. It became clear that the Leviathan wasn't just a relic. It was alive in some sense, or at least controlled by an intelligence far beyond human understanding. The signal they had decoded was only the beginning. By entering the ship and probing its secrets, humanity had triggered a test that began rippling outward, affecting everything within the MothYard and beyond. Across human-controlled space, colonies began experiencing strange phenomena. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably on certain planets, causing oceans to rise and fall without warning. Entire star systems found themselves shrouded in inexplicable energy fields, cutting them off from the rest of the galaxy. Even time itself seemed to fracture in some regions, with reports of events happening out of sequence, or people experiencing déjà vu so vivid it felt like reliving entire days. Humanity scrambled to make sense of it all. Was this the Leviathan's doing, or was it an ancient safeguard left by its creators? Whatever the cause, the message was clear. Humanity was now part of something far greater than themselves, and the stakes were higher than they had ever imagined. The test wasn't just a measure of intelligence or technological prowess. It was a crucible, designed to push a civilization to its absolute limits. Every anomaly, every distortion, seemed tailored to expose weaknesses, to see if humanity could adapt and endure. Other species had clearly faced this same challenge and failed. But where others had panicked, humanity resisted. They were no strangers to adversity, having survived their own history of wars, natural disasters, and near-extinction events. The very traits that had brought them to the stars, resilience, ingenuity, and relentless curiosity, became their greatest assets. Using data collected from the Leviathan, human scientists and engineers began working around the clock, developing countermeasures to stabilize the anomalies. They harnessed fragments of alien technology, integrating them into their own systems, and created tools to track and predict the disturbances. Slowly, they began to push back against the chaos. But as the test escalated, humanity knew they had only scratched the surface. The Leviathan's purpose was still unclear, and the closer they came to unlocking its secrets, the more they realized that the test was not just about survival. It was about proving something deeper, something fundamental. And in the back of everyone's mind lingered the haunting question: if humanity passed this test, what would come next? If they failed, would they suffer the same fate as those who had come before? The MothYard was no longer just a graveyard, it was a battlefield, and humanity was determined to win. The Leviathan's test reached a crescendo. The anomalies radiating from the ship became more violent, threatening not just the MothYard but human colonies light years away. Stars flickered unnaturally, space-time warped unpredictably, and once stable trade routes were now treacherous voids of distortion. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath, watching as humanity teetered on the edge of catastrophe. But amid the chaos, there was progress. A breakthrough came when a team of researchers uncovered the Leviathan's central core, a massive chamber deep within the ship, pulsating with energy so intense that no human technology could fully measure it. The core was surrounded by a lattice of intricate structures, each emitting strange patterns of light and sound. At its center was an object unlike anything humanity had ever seen. A black, crystalline sphere suspended in midair, rotating slowly. This sphere, they realized, was the source of the anomalies. It wasn't just a power source, it was a construct that manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe. Gravity, time, energy, even the laws of physics themselves bent to its will. The sphere was the heart of the Leviathan and the key to understanding its purpose. Human scientists worked tirelessly to decode the sphere's workings. It emitted a constant stream of data, mathematical equations, energy signatures, and symbols that seemed to defy logic. At first, the data seemed incomprehensible, but patterns began to emerge. The sphere was communicating, not in any language but through universal constants. It was testing humanity's ability to decipher and understand the very fabric of existence. The process was grueling. As the anomalies intensified, human ships and stations began to fail under the strain. Entire colonies were evacuated as planets became uninhabitable. Yet, humanity refused to give up. The brightest minds from every corner of human space collaborated, pooling their knowledge and creativity to solve the sphere's puzzle. The breakthrough came not from advanced technology, but from a simple realization. The sphere wasn't asking for brute force or computational power. It was testing for insight, for the ability to see connections beyond the obvious. A young mathematician noticed that the data wasn't just a challenge, it was a story. The patterns told of creation, destruction, and rebirth, a cycle that echoed through the history of the galaxy. Humanity began to respond. Using the Leviathan's own systems, they encoded their understanding of the sphere's message into a return signal. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. The anomalies began to stabilize, and the Leviathan's core reacted, its patterns shifting as if acknowledging their effort. As the sphere pulsed one final time, it revealed something extraordinary: a map. It pointed to a distant star system far beyond the MothYard, where a new mystery awaited. Humanity had passed the test, but the Leviathan's message was clear: their journey was only beginning. Whatever lay ahead would challenge them in ways they couldn't yet imagine. But for now, they had proven one thing: humanity had the resilience to endure and the vision to ascend. The Leviathan's test had been passed, but its mysteries were far from fully unraveled. As humanity's return signal resonated through the ship, the crystalline sphere's once chaotic patterns shifted into perfect harmony. The Leviathan pulsed with an energy that radiated across the MothYard, drawing the wrecked ships into a synchronized dance. Wreckage that had drifted aimlessly for millennia began aligning in precise formations, as if summoned by the Leviathan itself. Humanity watched in awe as the once disordered graveyard transformed into an intricate lattice of Starship remains. It was not a graveyard after all, it was a beacon, a colossal structure with a purpose beyond comprehension. The Leviathan had not merely tested humanity's intellect and resilience, it had used them to reawaken its true design. The map displayed by the sphere revealed a single star system at the galaxy's fringe. It was uncharted, lying far beyond any known trade routes or colonized worlds. To other civilizations, such a location would have been unreachable or irrelevant. But for humanity, it was a new challenge, an invitation to venture even further into the unknown. The Leviathan's activation hinted at something extraordinary waiting in that distant system. Still, the question lingered. Why humanity? Billions of years of galactic history had passed, and dozens of civilizations, each far more advanced than humanity, had fallen. Why had humanity succeeded where others had failed? Some believed it was their adaptability. Humanity had always thrived in chaos, finding opportunity where others saw only ruin. Others speculated that the test itself had evolved, shaped by the failures of those who came before. Perhaps humanity's unique combination of ingenuity, collaboration, and stubborn persistence had been precisely what the Leviathan sought. Before leaving the MothYard, humanity ensured the Leviathan's knowledge was preserved. Its archives, encoded in patterns and holograms, contained glimpses of alien philosophies, sciences, and histories long forgotten. These fragments hinted at a deeper truth. The galaxy had always been connected, bound by cycles of creation, collapse, and renewal. As humanity prepared to journey to the coordinates, they dismantled the Leviathan's remaining mysteries. The sphere, now dormant, was taken aboard humanity's flagship, its power studied but never fully understood. The MothYard, no longer a tomb of failure, became a symbol of triumph, a testament to the resilience of those who dared to challenge the unknown. The voyage to the distant star system began, carrying with it humanity's brightest minds and bravest explorers. They didn't know what they would find, only that the journey was inevitable. The Leviathan had opened a door to a new frontier, and humanity, true to its nature, stepped through without hesitation. Whatever awaited in that distant system, humanity was ready. They had faced extinction's shadow and emerged stronger, turning the galaxy's darkest graveyard into the first chapter of a new story. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and with them, the promise of answers, challenges, and perhaps the key to a destiny greater than any they had ever imagined. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the MothYard of the humans. Subscribe to Starlight Sci-Fi for more tales of cosmic discovery and the indomitable human spirit. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars.